This podcast is meant for general health information and is not meant to override any medical advice. All questions will be screened and not contain any personal information. If you want a private consultation, contact us via positivechoice.org, or you can contact your provider directly. Thank you and enjoy the episode.
Hello and welcome to the Positive Choice Wellness Podcast. My name is Melanie and I'm an exercise physiologist.
And my name is Kimberly and I'm a registered dietitian.
Hello, Kimberly. How are you today?
Hello, I am good, thank you. How are you?
I am also good. It's been a nice morning so far. So far, good.
Yes, indeed, good. Yay, we like it.
Yeah. So, enjoying this nice, lovely weather.
No
but
doubt.
I am curious, though, Kimberly, what brings you joy today?
This might sound just silly or whatever. This is like when you know you've crossed the threshold to adulting. Is I have bought a couple of like organizational things to get some junk drawers in my house organized. That's bringing me so much joy. I don't know what it is about getting clutter out of the hidden drawers that's making me excited, but that's what's making me very happy.
Nice.
These days. Yes.
I
feel
it.
clean. I feel clean. Yeah.
Perfect.
What about you?
Well, it's very nerdy. Good. So I think I mentioned on an episode or so ago, I have been doing Dungeons and Dragons. I've been the dungeon master,
Yes.
so the narrator of the story for anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about. And I'm basically creating a game that people are playing. And I just bought like 100 figurines.
Ooh, nice.
So I have all the enemies. I have non-player characters, like a random guy who works in a shop and like a cook and stuff. So I got all these little figurines ready to go. And,
I love it.
Ready for, we're going to have a campaign on Sunday. So, well, it's the campaign on Sunday. So it's going to be, it's going to be official day one.
Are the people expecting your figurines, or is that going to be a pleasant surprise?
A couple people know about them, but I think it's just gonna be a pleasant surprise. Like basically last time we played, I have a friend who does DMing on the side, and I was like, hey, can you bring all your figurines? And he did, which was awesome. But the problem is I was like, I don't want to make him a person who's just playing to have to lug all of his stuff to the game. He can just be there and play. I think that's a better way to approach it.
Very nice.
It's bringing me joy because I'm like, I was
excited about it.
I was talking with my mom and she was like, yeah, you're an adult. And I was like, I don't want to be an adult. And she's like, I mean, you can buy toys. I'm like, I did buy toys. So it was like, I did do that, Mom.
That's awesome. I love that.
So yeah, we have great conversations, my mother and I. We're too much alike. So, but anyways.
So fun. So fun.
I mean, this actually might be related because we're going to talk about talk about dopamine. And it's just funny because I'm like, this brings me joy. This brings me dopamine. But yeah, 100%. So I guess what has come up a lot lately in research, in the media, in social media has been dopamine. And when we're talking about dopamine, we're talking about dopamine fasting. So we're going to get into a little bit about what dopamine is, how it affects the body, generally speaking. And then we're going to talk about dopamine fasting, what that is. Because if you don't know what dopamine fasting is, you're in for a wild adventure today.
I know, which signed me up for that ride because I had not heard of this. I mean, I've heard of dopamine, of course, but I didn't know that dopamine fasting was a thing, let alone something that was trending. So I think this is really interesting.
It's a very interesting topic. And yeah, I definitely want to dive into that. So I guess there's like, because it's in the media a bit, there's some myths around it that we can debunk, but essentially the way people kind of talk about dopamine fasting is a way of like, quote unquote, resetting their brain. But is that even real, right? Can you reset your brain? Because I feel like you can't. And then sharing kind of what science actually says about this and what is more practical for the average person.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our topic for the day.
I love it. That sounds good. And dopamine is a one of the good ones, right? We like dopamine. Just checking.
I mean, I guess
usually you usually fast from something bad, I feel like. So that's why I want to check.
Well, I mean, I would say yes, but then dopamine can also be correlated with not great habits too. So it just depends on the context. Because yes, one of the good ones, because it doesn't make you feel bad, but
But bad things can make you release dopamine.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
You know, like drugs. So there's
yes.
There are, like, I would argue it's one of those, it has a role kind of things where depending on what that role is doing could be good or bad. But generally speaking, it in itself is not inherently bad. It's a naturally occurring thing.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not bad, but it's a neurotransmitter that's tied very strongly with motivation and anticipation. So it's often misrepresented as pleasure or the feel-good hormone, but actually it's more a motivator, a driver, if you will.
Okay.
And what people kind of think sometimes is like dopamine can potentially get depleted like gas in a tank, which is not really true. Because it's a neurotransmitter, like you can't just run out of that. That's bad. So you kind of need it. And when we're talking about dopamine, like it's primarily about our goal-directed behaviors. So when it regulates those things, so it regulates our motivation around those things, it regulates around our behaviors, and you basically, when you do certain things that bring you pleasure, in a sense, part of the drive to do them is dopamine. It's not the pleasure itself that you're experiencing.
Okay.
I know it's a kind of a hard concept to grasp in a sense because dopamine's like, you want to do that. You should do that. It's not the, oh boy, this is great. It's more of the, ooh, that sounds good. Ooh, you should participate in that. It's that's the little voice that tells you to do stuff.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah. It's like the intrigue almost, like the, that would be good if you did it type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. And when it comes to dopamine, of course, like it is a motivator and a driver, but you can't like reset it. So something that's interesting, so Annalise had done a presentation. We keep talking about Annalise because like she did a presentation about this and she's just often coming up. But she did a presentation on this basically saying like we have like a threshold, essentially, this level of baseline dopamine that we produce on a given day. And if we like do too much of something or get overstimulated, like with addictive behaviors, it essentially like pushes our tolerance to dopamine up a little bit. So we need more dopamine to feel that reward that we're going to get later. So the driver to make us want to do it, we need more of it and more wants. And so I guess in a sense, the reset is like bringing those levels back to baseline. So making sure that we're not overstimulated constantly. Because basically it's like caffeine, right? Like, or any sort of substance, even though it's a naturally occurring one. But like, you know, if with caffeine, you drink a cup of coffee after a year, that cup of, I mean, probably even shorter than that, but like that cup of coffee is not going to do what it did the first day you had it. You build a tolerance and then you can push past that tolerance, but you need more of that thing to reach that threshold to feel good.
Okay. Yes, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
I had to use an analogy for myself as well, because I realized I think I was saying it weird. So as long as that makes sense with caffeine.
Yes. As long as we use coffee. No, that's perfect. That definitely makes sense. So there you can reach a point where you're like, have normalized almost. So yeah, you need more of something to get the dopamine rush
to get that
or
effect, or to like your dopamine is going to be overstimulated. So you have way more dopamine driving you to do these behaviors as well to reach that pleasure point, essentially.
Okay.
And this can be coming up a few ways. So it could be with overstimulation, maybe in social media, which is kind of where we're going to drive this conversation. But it could be a lot of different things because it's, you know, any sort of behavior you might find pseudo addicting, maybe that could be part of this issue as well. It's whatever, you know, it's a behavior that makes you feel happy. Right. So that's your dopamine.
Yeah.
Dopamine itself is not the happy, but, you know, it's a driver for it. Makes you want to feel that way. Yes. So when we talk about dopamine fasting, it's not really the truth. It's very misleading in that sense. There's no such thing as like dopamine fasting per se. So when we're talking about dopamine fasting, it's more like digital detoxing, mindful rest, so being more mindful and being more physically present rather than being overstimulated, and also just limiting all the things that might be overwhelming for you if they're constantly stimulating you. Because we live in a society that's highly digitized, so we're constantly being bombarded with like digital overstimulation.
Yeah, I would say our brains are stimulated nearly always anymore, right?
Yeah.
So that sounds like a big one. Okay.
And so when we talk about dopamine fasting, like even though the term itself is misleading, the behaviors that it's encouraging are not a bad thing. So that's why we do want to talk about it, because I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to, detox, quote unquote, but essentially taking breaks from stuff that's causing this overstimulation. What I find interesting is spending time in silence or being bored, which it just brings me back to childhood when I'm like, I'm bored. My mom was like, find something to do. And I'm like, oh, okay.
100%. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. That's what it reminded me of as well. My mom would be like, well, I can think of several chores I could give you,
You're like, I'd rather be bored.
Yeah, I'll take boredom. Yeah. It's just that's so interesting, because it does seem like nowadays boredom is either hard to come by or severely frowned upon, right? Like it's not like people don't know how to be bored anymore. It's something that we've lost.
Yeah. And it's like, that's another one. It's just like being not stimulated, which can result in boredom sometimes. And then of course, like that could be a possibility of practicing mindfulness or intentional like mental rest at that point. But a lot of these are psychologically driven, right? So when it comes down to it, for example, if we talk about like being boredom, it's like when your mind starts to wander. So maybe you're just sitting there like spacing out and just going on an adventure in your own brain. But what is beneficial of that, and I've seen a lot of studies that support this actually, boredom can increase motivation to pursue meaningful goals. So this is from a study from Hunter and Eastwood in 2018. Basically, just when we're bored, like boredom is the driver for creativity. And so it's a way to keep ourselves occupied. Because if you think about it, like put yourself 1,000 years ago or more, we're just sitting around with a phone, right? Like we didn't have that. So we had to keep ourselves entertained. Like, heck, you and I can remember the time before cell phones were a thing. And there's some times where you're just bored sitting there and you don't got anything to do. And nothing's on TV, nothing sounds good, and you're just bored, right? And then, like, especially for children, that's where you start getting creative and start having like imaginary friends, or, playing with toys and like going to magical vacation, cool fun lands and stuff like that. Like we start doing really creative stuff as kids. It's a driver for creativity. So as adults, it's very similar, where it's a driver for creativity. And maybe that's where you can have a creative outlet, right, for these moments, but it's not overstimulating. It could be painting or making a puzzle or gardening or things that are stimulating in like a mild way.
I love that. So you have to give yourself some time off from being stimulated to be bored, perhaps, to allow some of those juices to flow. Maybe.
Yes. Flexing that creativity muscle, because I can relate this back to my earlier commentary of being a DM. I have to think about this kind of stuff and be really creative. And so there are times where I'm like, no sound, no nothing, in silent room, typing away on my computer, creating stories to put people in. And I love that. It's been fun because like I'm not stimulated in that way. I'm like thinking, and it's all me, and it's very like cathartic in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super creative. I love that.
Now, another thing that's important to mention too while we're here is screen overuse. So we're talking your tablets, your laptops, your phones, your TVs. It can affect your mood, your sleep, and your attention. And especially can be linked to increased anxiety, especially we're seeing this a lot more prominently in teens. But we are too connected. We are too attached to digital devices, like way too attached.
Absolutely. I would agree with that, because as you're saying this, I'm thinking about how most people work on computers nowadays, right? Or students even use computers for school more than we used to.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll be like, I'll be like working, looking, whatever, and then staring at my computer for 4 hours, and then I'll take my 15-minute break and I'll look at my phone. That's awful.
Yep. Or you're watching
Anyway.
like I have a TV on in the background.
Yes.
I'm on my laptop periodically looking at my phone, back on my computer. Like it's screen. It's constant.
Yes,
Constant.
Absolutely.
But this is where I find it interesting though. So like beyond just that, so when you're finding you're on your phone for that 15-minute break, like have you ever caught yourself just like scrolling and you don't even know what you're looking for? You're just scrolling endlessly?
Probably every single time, if not multiple times a day. That's embarrassing, but yes.
Yeah. And a lot of people do that. You're not alone. And so that's commonly associated with something called dopamine depletion. So this is not true, but that's what they're calling it. Dopamine depletion, where you're scrolling in a means of trying to get more dopamine.
That just makes me feel... Is it weird if I say it makes me feel icky? Because I'm like, I just, it's not like it's ever something that is healthy or giving me life when I'm looking at my social media. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm like learning or gaining insight. Something. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just like, I just want to engage my brain somehow. Oh, that's so eye-opening.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that is this has nothing to do with dopamine. It has everything to do with being a habit.
Oh, well, there you go.
So you've created a habit of scrolling mindlessly on your phone, not even paying attention. So it has nothing to do with dopamine anymore. It's just a habit loop. So
okay.
And I mean, it has a little bit to do with dopamine, but it's not dopamine depletion, I will say. That's definitely what we're looking at here. So
yes, it's just a habit I've created though.
Yeah. So like we're talking about like resetting the brain, right? So not mindlessly scrolling and trying to be more physically present and doing stuff that's beneficial to the body. If we're talking about like resetting the brain, what's a really good reset for the brain?
Ooh, what?
Sleep.
Okay, I feel like I should have been able to guess that. That's my favorite form of reset personally. I love that. Okay, good. So sleep is healthy in more ways than just
sleep is like the real reset. That is really what sleep does. And it's true. It absolutely is. Sleep is essential for your memory. It's essential for emotional regulation because we all know how we feel when we're not fully slept. We're like, we don't have enough hours. Like you're kind of cranky, start feeling like a toddler. It's like tantrums really close to happening as an adult when you're tired.
Absolutely.
And then essentially what it does too when you're sleeping is it starts pruning those overstimulated neural pathways in your brain. So like it starts reducing those for you. That's what sleeping does. Now we definitely can reopen those pathways the next day, but in the process of sleeping, you are pruning and trimming away at some of the excess things we don't necessarily need. So the body does some resetting for you.
Oh, I love that. Okay. And then maybe that's where, like you said, like the habit kind of loop comes in. When you wake up in the morning, you got to choose to do something different versus like your normal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because like in theory, your dopamine is reset, but then you jump on your phone and you have a habit loop.
Yeah.
Another thing that's also interesting, because, we talk a little bit about this in other programs that we teach. And I always laugh because like, I'm like outside vampire, gross. But technically nature is a great way to reset. Great way.
Yes, I love that. Looking at real things in real life with your own eyeballs versus the screen.
Yeah. And it's helpful, especially because it's like basically a low stimulation type setting. So I'm not talking walking through a major city. I'm talking about like walking through a park or on the beach or somewhere that's just very nature driven. It's a good mental reset because there's not a lot of that stimulation occurring around you. It's just natural. And it helps with mental fatigue. It's kind of refreshing because like think about any time you're out in nature in general as like a human being, you feel good, right? Like feels good to be out there. Even if you are a vampire like myself.
I know, right? And it's so, well, in today's day and age, it's so easy to be that way. So the benefit of that, I'm just thinking too, is get some more vitamin D because so many of us are deficient in vitamin D anyway. So
yep. Exactly. It's more than one benefit beyond like the brain reset. Like you also get vitamin D and like other things.
Totally.
But there were some studies that were done, and one of them, Berman et al. In Psychology Science, walking in nature improves working memory and mood more than urban environments. So we're seeing like some mental benefits here and memory benefits as well. So something to be said about just escaping technology for a bit, getting outside, getting some fresh air, and, not being face down, staring at phone, walking.
Yes. Key.
Because I think
right?
a lot of people do that where we're out and about walking and we're on our phones. Put that phone away. Leave it at home. Go walk.
Yeah. Don't even bring it with you. I love that. It's true. I think sometimes we, this is what I've heard anyway, and I can't remember where the heck I heard it, but we don't like looking like we're by ourselves or we're lonely or like don't have people with us, right? Which is why we, when you're sitting in a waiting room, you look at your phone because you're like, no, I have people in my life. Like I'm busy, or like when we're walking around like that. So that's so interesting. We have to be okay with not being attached to our device to look like we're connected to people somehow.
Yeah. And I totally understand that because I fall victim to that as well, where like you're by yourself
Same.
and you don't want to look awkward or weird. So you throw your phone out. It's also a great way not to talk to people if you don't want to be talked to by random strangers.
Yes,
so having your phone in your hand, great way to deter people. So like, I get it.
Guilty.
I totally understand. But like, if you're just out walking, that's simple enough that you don't need to have your phone in your hand, especially because it's dangerous. You could trip and fall or sprain your ankle or like walk into a tree branch because we're tall and that is a risk for us. So
true.
Like another thing that we have to think about. But yeah, like just thinking that, sleep's a good reset, being out in nature is a good reset. And then another one that's a good reset as well is not trying to be a multitasker.
Okay.
We are in this quick, fast-paced environment where we're driven to want to do multiple things, which I find very ironic considering I started this conversation before we started recording going, I was jumping from this PowerPoint to doing this and then charting on my patients and going over here and I was looking up this and I was talking about like the millions of things I was jumping between in terms of tasks.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's not beneficial.
Oh, that's hilarious.
There's something to be said about multitasking. One, it's pretty much not possible to multitask effectively. Like that's almost impossible to do. If anyone's computer savvy to a degree, like the fundamental thing I can say about multitasking, it's like you open your email, like you open up your inbox for your email. It's one big screen. You go, oh no, I have to check PowerPoint. And you open up PowerPoint. Well, the email's now behind, it's not there anymore. Now you're looking at PowerPoint. Oh no, I have to go into Health Connect and document on patients. Now you pull up Health Connect. A new window pops up. You're switching between windows, which means your brain is shifting between different things. It's not thinking about all three simultaneously.
Right. Yes. Because that would be a lot of information, I would imagine, for your brain to process all in one go. So yeah, it's not, I feel like that's making sense to me because I've always been like, oh, multitasking is like healthy or whatever. But you're right. It's not something that you can like actually give full attention to the multiple things that you're thinking about. Right.
You definitely cannot. Exactly. And like, I know that for a fact because I like to have background noise. So I'll throw a TV show on when I'm doing my work at home. And I'm not paying attention to that TV show. I have no idea what's happening in that show. It is just noise in the background because I'm tuning it out to focus on what I'm doing on my computer. And it is a lot of levels of overstimulation. But like, there's something to be said about like study music, quote unquote, or like focus music.
Yes.
There's a lot of research around people who have ADHD or ADD who have like issues with distraction. And a good way to get people focused on a task is have another thing going on in the background. So they focus on the one in front of them, which could be like wordless music, just ambient audio.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Okay, because the only way when I was going to grad school that I could like effectively study and like move through things efficiently was if I had like rain or ocean sounds playing in the background because other noises would totally like distract me or whatever. So
if I have lyrics to music, I'm singing along with the lyrics. I'm not focusing on my work. So like there is something to be said about like that type of stuff, like allowing yourself to be more focused and more monotasky rather than multitasky. And it's just music has been shown to be pretty effective in that regard. So
I love that. So focus on one thing at a time. That's always healthy, I feel like. Okay.
Yeah. Because we really truly can't multitask and it's hard and we're spreading our brain very thin. It's very exhausting.
Yes.
And so when you monotask, when you focus on one thing, you actually improve your attention and your memory. And it can happen over the course of about 2 weeks.
No way. Well, there you go. That's proof that I need to work on it right there. My memory is like goldfish status these days. Okay. Good to know.
They did prove that goldfish do have a longer memory than we think they do. So,
well,
That is a myth. And we're talking about myths. Goldfish myth. Anyways.
That's amazing.
We're not talking about goldfish. So then the last one that might be helpful as far as like resetting is just having actual human connection.
That
Real
sounds right.
face-to-face social interactions. Those can be really helpful for resetting the brain because it does promote a boost of oxytocin, which is the love hormone. But there's all sorts of different types of love. We think love of as romantic sometimes, but it can be like agape love, like it's just the friend love, you know, or family love. And
absolutely,
it's promoting that helpful, happy hormone in your body, reduces stress and makes you feel better, especially if that interaction is with someone you like. That would be the ideal here.
Yeah, I was thinking that in a perfect world, it would be someone you want to connect with, right?
Exactly.
But I love that. I love that like actual face-to-face interaction boosts oxytocin for you, and just that's great. That's great.
It's just another way of
especially
like helping
in this digital age.
reset. Exactly.
Yes, we need it.
So that's the true reset. We're talking about resetting your brain is just doing less technologically driven things and focusing on the reality of the world right now. Like, where are you? What are you doing? What's going on? Are you, breathing? Like,
yeah.
But if we circle back, because like then there's that compulsive habit of apps, right? So we go back to the beginning where you find you're maybe really addicted or glued to your screens, which fair. I think we all suffer from some form of like screen time addiction in some way. If you don't, you are special and awesome, and I'm envious of your life.
And good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Like that is awesome because it's hard to break away from these things. And like, there's something we can call the tech audit. So if you're trying to eliminate this type of stuff and be more focused on the present, the tech audit is really just asking yourself a few basic questions. Because if you find that you are mindlessly scrolling, just scroll, not thinking about it, this is where those questions might be able to pop up. So the first one you can ask yourself is, why am I opening this app?
So stinking simple, and yet something that I mean, hopefully others can relate to me on this. Something I've never thought to ask myself and take a second and pause. Right. So I love that. Just a simple why. Like, what am I going on here for?
Yeah. Well, that's the next one. What do I want from it? So why am I opening this app? Well, it's first thing in the morning. It's what I do every morning. Okay. That's a weird reason. I'm just talking about personal experience. And then what do I want from it? That's a great question. I want to see my friends, but maybe I'm not seeing my friends. If we're talking about social media, for example, because I think we talked about this in another episode. I'm not on social media anymore. And so this was stuff I was asking myself without realizing I was doing a tech audit on myself. So yeah, what do I want from this? I guess I want to see how my friends are doing, and I'm not. I'm seeing a lot of like AI generated nonsense and stuff that I don't follow. Yeah, stuff that I don't even care about. Like, why am I watching resin videos? Like, I don't care about resin. So like, there's like stuff that starts showing up in my feed. I'm like, I don't care.
I don't understand. Yeah.
So asking what do I want? And then finally, how will I feel after? And I think this is probably, if anything, the most powerful question of the three. Because the reason why I quit social media is I felt crummy. Like, I didn't like going on there, and it's made me feel sad and crummy every time I went on. Every time.
Yes. Okay. And how insightful for you to catch that on your own and make the decision to stop, because you're completely right. I just mentioned earlier talking about social media that it's not adding to my life in any way. Right.
No.
So how do I feel after? Well, it's not like I'm like, ooh, I'm so educated and full of new creative ideas. No, it's that's.
Yeah. So like, before I go through the further use of the tech audit, because there's a couple more things I want to mention, what I will share about my experience is like, I deleted the app off of my phone for the social medias that I am on. So I just deleted the apps, and oh my gosh, like the habit loop around that is wild. Like, cause I was so used to wake up first thing, grab phone, open up folder, try to poke the app is gone. So my finger is hovering over the screen where an app should be, and it is not there. And then you kind of sit there and go like, what do I do?
Yeah.
But like, it was this compulsive drive to like want to do it, right? This is what I needed to do. I need to go on this app, and I need to open it up and scroll mindlessly.
Yeah.
To get what? And I already knew I didn't want to do that, but it's the habit that's been there for so long. So what ended up happening for me, at least, is after a while, I stopped caring and I got less and less and less and less. Now, it took a few weeks. It wasn't instantaneous, but every morning it would be open, go to spot where app is gone. Next morning, go to spot where app is gone. And just keep doing that until eventually I stopped doing that. And it kind of fell off. And now I don't think twice about it. I go on there to spy on people when I think about it. And that's about it. That's all I care about. And
yes,
I don't really have any interest in being on there. No one, it's not bringing me any joy. Half of my friends aren't even on it anymore. So what do I get from it anymore? For me, nothing.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah.
I love that. And I like there's sometimes where I feel like it's certain situations in life, like whatever, health wise, where it's more difficult, but I like the cold turkey approach here where you just like cut it off completely and deleted it from your phone. I think that's one of the main ways you can be successful with being on your screen less,
I'm not about extremism or restriction in that way. Especially when it comes to food, but sometimes that's what you need to do just to really for me, if you were to call it a reset, quote unquote, for me, that's how I need to do not everything, but tech. That's not harmful for me, like food. So for me, I'm I can cold turkey this, but if that is hard for you, and if you're listening to me going, I don't know if I can do that, that's okay. Maybe you limit it for there's tech curfews. You can't get on your phone the first hour you're awake, and you can't get on your phone the first hour before you go to bed. So you have times around bedtime that you're not on your phone at all. And that's a curfew for you, or you can't be on your phone during meals. Set parameters around what you can or cannot do.
Love that.
And then schedule boredom time.
Be bored, embrace it. That's a good one.
10 minutes a day with no input. And this could be no input. So no music, no phone, no books. You're just 10 minutes to just be.
You're just there. Ooh, that's good. That's a good challenge.
Yeah. And this is where you can practice mindfulness. Maybe you do a body scan or, some deep breathing exercises. No one said you can't just do something like that, but just don't be stimulated by something just for 10 minutes and see what happens. Now, another one that's helpful too is I already did this because I just hate notifications, but turn off all the non-essential notifications on your phone.
Yes, I love that because it's true. Anytime your phone lights up, you're auto gonna just look at it, right? So I've done the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So just turning off those notifications, not having them alert you. I have apps that I frequent, but I don't want to know when people message me on them. So I've just disabled it. So I go in there when I feel like it, ooh, notifications, but then that's it. Actually, with the original app I was referring to, that's how it started, is I turned off all notifications for the app first. Okay. And then I cold turkeyed the rest of it. So I kind of eased my way into cold turkeying.
Yeah. But that's good though. That's still effective. I love that.
And if you're really I just want to try to do a little bit more, there's one thing you can do. We can call it analog Sundays, where you just have one day a week, or any, it doesn't have to be Sunday, but any day a week where you're not using screens as entertainment. You're using books, puzzles, walking, board games, doing stuff that's not screen related.
Love that. Play outside, do whatever. Love that. Okay. Yeah. Get back into real books, not or ebooks, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So, finding ways that work for you. There's no right or wrong way, but, just ask yourself these questions if you find that you're feeling like you're really overstimulated, there's too much going on, and that you have these compulsive habit loops where you just kind of find you're mindlessly scrolling on the apps and stuff. Just take that moment. Take a moment, take a step back and look at it and ask yourself those questions. Is this bringing my life any joy? Is there anything I'm getting from this that makes it worthwhile to do this to myself right now?
Right. You're completely right. Ooh, that's good. That's good, deep reflection for us.
Yes. The queries.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main takeaway from this really is it's not dopamine fasting. That's not really what we're talking about. It's intentional downtime and boundaries around our technology.
Love that. Absolutely.
That's ultimately the thing we're trying to focus on here. And we're not telling you to quit dopamine. You can't. One. Yeah. Two, it's really about just reclaiming your attention to the present moment and not being super spread thin and distracted with all the millions of ways we can get distracted.
Yes, that's good. And get comfortable being not, like you're saying, not stimulated. I love that because that is something that nowadays you actually have to be weirdly intentional about, right? So getting back into doing that. That's good.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is maybe like a little mini goal for you all this week. So just pick something that you want to unplug from. Maybe it's one app that you find is like draining you. If it's something that's not bringing you joy. I'm not saying you have to delete your account, but like, I just deleted the app off my phone. That's all I did. I still have access to it, but I just don't want to. Yeah. But maybe that's what you do. But that could be a little goal that you try. This is one thing, or maybe just a 10-minute boredom break.
Love that. Yes. Challenge yourself to either, delete or just, again, like you said, remove off of your screen anyway, an app, or try to be bored for 10 minutes. That's good.
Yeah. Give you that reset you're really looking for.
Yeah. You need it.
Exactly. But unfortunately, it's about that time, Kimberly.
Oh, man.
It just goes so fast.
It really does. But
thank you all for listening. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, you feel free to comment below. We work with people all over the country. However, I don't know how digital media stuff. I don't know how we can technically we're dietitians and exercise physiologists, but we have a mindfulness coach who works with us, and she can help you be more mindful and more present that way. So honestly, if you're to do anything, I would recommend that because she is phenomenal. We have episodes with her. Her name is Carissa, if you want to look her up. But that being said, until next time, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Struggling to lose weight and keep it off? At the Positive Choice Integrative Wellness Center, our meal replacement program can help you take the guesswork out of weight loss. With support from medical providers, dietitians, and health educators, you'll use nutritionally complete meal replacements to lose weight safely and effectively. The best part? You're not doing it alone. Whether you want to lose 10 pounds or 100, our program is flexible, affordable, and focused on long-term success, not quick fixes. Take the first step towards lasting change. Visit positivechoice.org/meal replacements to learn more and get started today.